I chose to analyze the Lost Generation for this video project. Um, so for historical context, the Lost Generation is a group of writers who were prevalent post-World War I who were attempting to integrate back to normalcy. Due to the tragedies of war, these writers felt lost in life and alienated from the typical American dream and culture due to their disconnection they felt from the US, and most lived in Paris. Gertrude Stein is accredited for coining the term "lost generation", as she overheard a French business owner call them the "génération perdue", meaning "lost generation" in French. I think I said that correct. Influential writers. So during that time, Gertrude Stein was a very influential American novelist and playwright, and she hosted a salon with many modern artists and minds that were able to collaborate in this space and fuel these modernistic beliefs that a lot of these individuals had. Another person was Ernest Hemingway, who is an American novelist who was also awarded the Nobel Peace Prize in 1954. Another prominent figure was F. Scott Fitzgerald, who was an American writer, most known for his flamboyant stories regarding jazz and other topics like that. And then T.S. Eliot was a poet and playwright who valued poetic structure and form. And politics of the Lost Generation. So the authors during the Lost Generation were frustrated with a lot of the horrors that they saw from World War I, and they harbored a lot of feelings of resentment and guilt towards the United States for kind of creating this mindset of going to war and fighting and that being their duty in a sense to their country. And they were just kind of questioning that overall belief in country, essentially, and essentially also moving to Paris. They were feeling rather disconnected from the United States around this time. And with this, a lot of emotions and wrestling and doubt came up with traditional religious beliefs as well. And there just became a rise in atheistic and agnostic views of the world. Poetry from the Lost Generation. So typically poems in the Lost Generation were focused on personal feelings and experiences regarding the war. So a lot of poems had examples of shell shock and images of like trench warfare and other things like that. So there was a lot of questioning of traditional cultural views and a lot of implementation of modernist beliefs. Most poems were non-linear and fragmented in form and structure, so they were more ambiguous and focused more on like personal emotions and expressions with not as much structure or a certain rhyme scheme or pattern to certain things. There was also a lot of cultural and historical information in each poem, and just a huge representation of modernism and life post-war. One poem that I think really accurately represents a lot of parts of the Lost Generation is T.S. Eliot's The Hollow Men. In this poem, the beginning part, he kind of talks a little bit about life living in the trenches and during war, almost like a war flashback kind of thing, and his emotions regarding that. One example of this in this poem is he says, "Paralyzed force, gesture without motion, those who have crossed with direct eyes to death's other kingdom." And just paralyzing force kind of referring to that shell shock of that overwhelming feeling of death and destruction, and kind of that other kingdom, like part at the end, death's other kingdom, is referring to the side that they were fighting against. So, also too, I think this poem does a really good job about recognizing Eliot's personal experiences in war, but also it really emphasizes kind of that degradation of traditional religion as well. In this poem, there's a lot of kind of allusions to traditional beliefs. Like towards the end, it says, between the conception and the creation, and for thine is life is, for thine is the. And these are just all like really close allusions to Christian beliefs and how it suggests his feeling abandoned by God in that time and just confusion in general with so much death and destruction and chaos going on. So yeah, that's a little bit about the Lost Generation.